One of the biggest misconceptions, well, I mean, it's better than saying space dust is reflecting in the air. And that is what we see. It's better than saying that stuff, which is what Nixon and Kennedy and a bunch of other people were saying about what the night sky looked like and what the stars were. Um, it's better than that, which is what they were saying. Like go back probably 50 or 60 years or 100 years ago, and basically you get a bunch of people who are on way too much opium and way too much LSD, saying that the space dust and naming planets and saying, why, yes, on that star, on that little, or actually at first they said it was space dust, and then finally they admitted that it was a star, or it was a light source. And then finally they said, why, yes, that's the moonbeam planet, which has rainbow people, and basically there was a bunch of crazy people trying to say what they knew about the space and stars and stuff. Anyway, whatever. Anyway, I'm Lucifer Star, and I just know a very basic knowledge of everything, as I've been to a lot of these worlds or been to all of the places, which I got and or else I die. Surrender or I die, and basically that kind of stuff. And pretty much held hostage and all kinds of other stuff. And then shot in the face like 34 times and got really annoying. And I was just a child. I was only like 3 foot tall, like 4 foot tall. Anyway, whatever. It was a long time ago. It was 1960. And many people would say 1960 was just one of those years. That was just weird for everyone. 1950, 1960 was either death and destruction or weird for a lot of people. We're not going back. Anyway, but one of the huge misconceptions put forward by scientists is that life needs water to exist. Not true at all. For one thing, exoskeletons don't need very much water. In fact, the water in this glass for most exoskeletons, well, not if this glass was full or 2 or 3 glasses, that would be more than enough to sustain an exoskeleton for quite a long time. But that's just a form of life. There's all kinds of other there is other ways to do life forms that don't use water at all. They actually use something else, or use like very 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 small amounts of water. Like where I mean, there's ways to make water stretch or whatever. Um, and there's other ways. I mean, that's just a form of life or whatever. There's like I said, there's ways to not use. I don't think there's ways to not use water at all. I mean, technically, robots and stuff are actually ways to not use water at all. I mean, there's no water in them, and and at sufficient sophistication levels, they're basically life forms. But but there's ways of being based on other things. Like I don't really know off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but this whole idea that life has to be based upon water or some sort of liquid is not true at all. There are other ways, or there's ways of using very very little water. Anyway, though, scientists and everyone basically has this idea that that life can only conform to certain whatevers, and it's like, no, it's not true at all. And I'm not a scientist, so I'm not really going to say how it actually works. I used to know more about life forms and everything else because I was a creator and Lucifer Star. Now I'm retired and technically, supposedly, I'm supposed to be dead, but I'm not. So anyway, it gets all complicated and everything else, and where I just don't really give a damn anymore. like I said a long time ago, I said I'm 100 trillion years old. I reserve the right to basically not give a damn about just about anything, whatever I want. So I mean, like I built stars and basically created life forms, the inside out exoskeleton and everything else. I reserve the right to basically say I don't care about things if I want to. Anyway, that's my prerogative as being the real LS. And considering everything I've been through, it's like, ugh. And still being denied. And still having to have to deal with people like Rodney and a bunch of other people who are just like, literally, actually, a lot of people consider everything on Earth that's happening to be clinical insanity. Mass clinical insanity, pretty much. Because it's just like, like you've gone off the deep end. They've gone off the off what would be considered rational thinkers or whatever. Because like, I mean, using guns to conquer conquerors and rapists and basically media suppression and lying and using government and this and that and everything else that's basically just this game, and people saying the game of life, and basically pretty much it's pretty much, and they were trying to support this whole like idea of it's how many people you lie to and how many times you steal and how many girls you get into your bedroom, and that's what really matters. And it's like that's not what really matters. Anyway, but a bunch of people were running around who are expert game of life people, who would just run around, basically lie to women, lie to people, and basically take as much as they could get before they finally died. Which was somewhere around 30 or 40 or so, or 50. And basically what you might consider the fast lifers. Um, which basically was everything from running drugs to shooting people in the back to basically lying to women, telling them that they were something when they were really just someone that actually just shot someone else who had a bunch of drugs, and then ran and sold as many drugs as they could until they ran out of supply, and then basically were done. And usually went to jail afterwards. Like a lot of people would go and steal like a truckload of cocaine or a truckload of methamphetamines, or somehow acquire it and then sell from a house until it was all gone, and then basically then go to jail or be killed by someone who was like, "Where are your drugs? I know you have them in here. I know you get more." And it's like, we had one truckload and it's gone. We sold it all. And it's like, "No, you got more." And then that was their problem. So anyway, a lot of people would get one truckload of drugs and then sell out, and then supposedly be big drug lords. And basically they just had like a pickup truck or a semi truckload of basically methamphetamine, which they had been guarding or whatever, and they would be selling off over a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years, basically living the life, and then once it was gone, it was gone. And pretty much everyone knew that they were a drug dealer, and usually they had killed people for it or some shit like that. And I was like, I don't know, I don't care. But what would be considered the fast lifers of between 1930 and 1940, people living the fast life, which were people that were basically stealing cocaine shipments or doing this and doing that and running to another country and then selling off what they had until they got caught or killed or whatever. And that happened a lot. So, and they were supposedly big, powerful men, and basically whatever. I'm not going to talk about it too much because I don't really know that much about it, and I had nothing to do with any of that. I just, I just witnessed a few events, and it's like, so that's what's going on. They stole a truckload, and they've been selling it off over this last 2 or 3 years, and now they're out of supplies, and no one will sell to them again. And they blew all their money, so they can't even get more. Oh, okay, weird, whatever. And now they're fienders. Basically 100,000 people that were addicted to drugs living off of one truckload supply of methamphetamine or opium, and now it's all gone. So, and now they're ratting on each other because just to get a little bit more, and basically you have like 50 or 100 people or 1,000 people doing that. And those people are in the news as the big drug cartel, blah, 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 and whatever. Anyway, I don't really know, and I don't really care. It's like, but yeah, you have 9 out of 10 times that's what it is. They steal one drug shipment, or they have like they get one plane that's fully loaded with drugs, and they make like 2 or 3 shipments, store it in a warehouse, guard the warehouse, and basically sell it off over like 2 or 3 years. And basically, towards the end they're cutting it even more, and people stop buying it, and basically they're running out. They can't get more. Or they're trying to get more, but they, whatever. Anyway, the fast lifers. So, what was I talking about anyway? I was talking about something else. Anyway, it's all just a bunch of silly nonsense, basically. And basically, it's just like 100,000 or the explanations for what was going on for 100,000 million people. And it's all just crazy. It's crazy.